All right. Today I'm joined by Amir Reiter, founder and CEO of CloudTask. Amir started his career in sales and later built CloudTask into a global marketplace for sales, agency, talent, and software. Amir, thanks for joining.
Yeah, man, my pleasure.
How's it going today?
It's going good, dude. Just busy working as always, but podcast is part of working these days. So, but it's going good.
For sure. Thanks for taking the time to start off. Could you share what CloudTask does and what
Yeah,
your
yeah.
role looks like
CloudTask
there?
is of course. CloudTask is a talent marketplace focused on GTM, RevOps, and AI powered roles. A lot of customer facing and technical roles. And we really focus on bridging the gap. We have a program called Skill Bridge between all of the amazing AI softwares and SaaS products out of there, helping people globally get trained up, certified, and getting hired so that companies that are buying these softwares don't churn.
Mm,
Um, and actually know how to use it. Shout out to my man Frank Saunders, who is a friend of mine, and I use Salesforce, and I just churned because I had nobody to use it, and really bad customer success experience. So really helping people avoid the experiences that I get as a buyer when I'm
mm,
hiring software, and I can't find somebody to use it and to manage it, and I end up canceling the software, and really trying to help people understand that they might be better off hiring somebody who's talented in the software before they make that purchase, so they don't have the same experience that I just had today with Salesforce. I'm like chatting up right now with CEO, being like, "Where's my help?" And we also have software and services, but we like to help our clients that are hiring talent with the software and the services that they need to support their business goals and business challenges, but also support the talent that they hire through our marketplace. So we're very close to GTM, RevOps, and AI, and really helping just people, helping the people that are going to get replaced by AI
mm.
do the replacing, if that makes sense. And someone's got to do it. So we're trying to bridge that gap through our talent marketplace. And that's who we are. It's me.
Awesome. So if I'm a B2B company and I'm looking for new tools, new software or way to implement it, I could look it up on
Yeah,
CloudTask.
you could use our marketplace to find software, you could find services, but our main focus is the talent and finding the people that are certified in those talents and getting them skilled up to use it.
Okay, for sure. And how did you got this idea to create CloudTask?
Well, we were a service company.
Hmm.
So we were an agency, like an outsourced agency, like your friend that you mentioned before. We got to 265 employees. It's been a really difficult pivot. Like I'm not gonna lie, changing from a service company to a technology marketplace is not that easy. So it's been 3 years of the making, and it's been really challenging to make that change. But now we're obviously seeing the fruits of our labor, and a lot of it was just seeing that there was already okay. You had Salesforce and you had HubSpot 15 years
Hmm.
ago, rocking and rolling. Go to try to find a Salesforce admin or go to try to find a HubSpot admin. You can't. They've all became agency owners, right? So there was already a talent shortage for the softwares that are people using. You fast forward now, and companies in America, the cost they can't charge their clients more. All the costs are going up, so they have to hire globally, right? Um, and then now there's 10,000 more software companies without trained people. So there's the faster that innovation's happening, the more of a talent gap that's coming. Even OpenAI is considering competing against LinkedIn and getting people certified in OpenAI, right?
Hmm.
And that's cool. And we're going to help those people too. But what about the 20 other thousand SaaS products and AI products out there? Like, where's the talent? And so, I think the idea came here from just seeing the fact that there was just a huge gap in trained talent to use the tools that companies use every day. Even Riverside FM, right? This is a product you're using for a podcast, right? But imagine how much better it would be if, like, I want to hire a video editor that's already trained and certified in Riverside FM versus somebody you have to train up, right? So, like, you have to buy software, find someone to hire, train them up, and that's just a slow process. So that's kind of, this is a new tool, probably had a little bit of a learning curve. It has new features coming out. Hard to stay on top of that, right?
Hmm.
So that's how we came up with the idea.
Yeah, I do see the need for that. There's so many more tools coming on the market, and you need specialists for that. Having like that bridge between the
Yeah,
talent
yeah.
and the problem. Nice. What was your biggest learning from that switch?
To focus on one niche first, right? I think for me, wanting to be a marketplace that had a GTM marketplace with talent, software, and services was super confusing for buyers, super confusing for sellers, and there's a big difference between being a multi-object marketplace versus a talent marketplace, and just focusing on a niche. So I think it was very difficult for us to work with software, service companies, and talent, and now we're focusing only on the talent, and things are just getting a lot better for us, which is great. So
Mm.
focus, which is the oldest principle in the book.
Yeah, it does make sense. And one thing I saw you mentioned many times was transparency in sales, which I really resonated with it. Why do you think it is so important to be transparent in sales?
Because people will find out the truth regardless. Um, it's a hard question, because it's like it's important to be transparent, but you're not rewarded for transparency. So like I don't know if I would advise that. I find that if you're honest with buyers, they tend to get angry with you. Um, so like I would tell people to be very careful with being honest, especially in America. Get
Mm.
you killed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Being honest gets you
that's
killed. So I don't know if I'd advise that. I think be
yeah.
honest with your family. It's a tightrope when it comes to like people. Are you honest with Americans?
I guess so. Yeah,
How does
I
that work
don't
out for
have
you?
for now pretty good, but I don't have that much to do. Like
Yeah.
my stakes are pretty low,
Yeah. Yeah.
so of
Yeah. I think be careful.
course, yeah. Also, one point I really liked is like you mentioned global talent, and it's getting more and more important. And so it's like with global hiring, how do you see the future with it? Like especially with Latin America
It's the
and also the
present. 20% of companies that are startups are already hiring in Latin America. Um, Look, let's be honest. What is America and what is the UK? It's a global mix of people, right?
Mm,
So they were always hiring globally inside the country. The big difference now is that if you're not in the office, you might as well hire somebody whose rent is 75% lower, right? If your rent is 75% lower and your cost of goods are 75% lower, then your salary adjusted is the same salary. $2,000 a month in Colombia could be the same purchasing power as 10,000 in New York City. And I think that with all the margin compressions, and I just think that companies will not really have an opportunity to survive really unless they're hiring globally, and they've been like there's a reason why Amazon, Facebook, Meta, all these companies they're producing billions of dollars of profit. They've had global teams forever. So the only ones
mm,
really not taking advantage of it were the companies that needed it the most, the small and mid-sized ones, the ones that don't have a billions. The ones that have billions of dollars of profit have been hiring globally and making billions of dollars of profit. The ones that need it the most aren't, but now they're waking up to it. That makes sense, you
mm.
know? What is your take on global talent?
I personally profit from it. Like most of my employers are international based, so I have some who are in Asia, some in the US. So I profit from it and also enjoy it. So when I was younger, I could only work in Austria and Germany, but now I get to work with people around the world, and like you get the best teams. And also for myself, if I have work to offload, I can just post it on Upwork and other platforms, and can find talent worldwide. Because it's really, for me as Austrian, it's really hard to find talent here, and like even big companies can't find talent, and they are able to pay much more.
Yeah. Now you know why I'm focused on AI, GTM, and RevOps, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to find talent before that slam, right? And I have an Austrian company I work with. It's called DataBar.ai, and its name is David Abiab. He's an awesome dude. I'm talking to him, as we speak. He's also in Austria, and you know, people don't know we're trying to get people trained up in DataBar, right? Like think about these
Mm,
tools like Clay. People are buying Clay like crazy, but they don't
mm,
actually have the talent to use it. So it takes them 6 months. They're paying for Clay for 6 months, not using it, and then they're hiring talent 6 months later, and then they're already canceling. So I'm
yeah.
trying to be like, hire John, who's already trained in Clay, then buy Clay, right?
Mm,
And then get working. So yeah. And then if you think about Upwork, it's a marketplace like CloudTask, right? But it's not focused in RevOps. It's not focused in GTM. It doesn't have all the software companies that we do, right? We're creating a direct connection between software companies and the talent so that they can take their training. I'll give you a shout out to a company called Ample Market. Have you ever heard of Ample Market?
no.
Ample Market's an awesome AI powered sales engagement tool. it's a database that helps people with the trigger. It has some stuff that helps people generate meetings, right? They have a university called Ample Market University. I think they invested a lot of money into it. Nobody knows about it. Nobody goes to it, right? So I'm taking that university that already exists and I'm sharing it with hundreds of thousands of people that they're like, I'm working at a call center right now. I'm making $1,000 a month. It's a good job. Not knocking that, right? How do I make 3,000? Well, you get certified in Ample Market. That's how you do it, right? So I'm bridging the gap and telling people what they should learn and how much they should make because there's no data on that. Like it just doesn't exist, right? Like you don't know the difference right now between like what's the salary from a med junior or senior cursor expert in Austria versus in Vietnam versus in Colombia, right? So we're doing our best to establish these guidelines so that software companies themselves know what the rates per talent cost. They can introduce to their clients, and we could help people utilize these tools better.
So for software companies who want to find talent and on the
Software
software,
companies
it
can
makes
find
much
talent.
money.
We've helped like Ring Central, Expensify, Apollo, Charge. I can name like 20 SaaS companies that have hired Latin American teams through us. That was before we were bridging the skill gap, right? Now we're making it even tighter, saying, hey, not only can we help you with talent, but we can get your talent trained up in your software, get them certified so that your actual customers can hire them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
What
Also, I
tools do
see
you
the
use
need
for
for
your
it.
company? What's like, give me a name of your tool.
The tool I use most is Clay. I use
Great.
Clay for almost everything, and SmartLead
Did you
for
have,
sending.
how was your experience in finding talent to use Clay?
It's quite tough, actually.
Okay.
Like
Imagine
most
you came
people.
to my marketplace and you said, John, 5 years experience, Clay, GTM guy, 2-3K a month. Would that be easy for you to find him, hire them? That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah,
I've
on
never
the
met a
tools right
person
now,
that had a good time finding talent.
for sure. That's
Yeah.
actually like when you mentioned Clay, I was
You
like,
want
I
to
need
hire
it.
a Clay expert? We can set you up. I got David Manjura. Can set you up fast.
We can talk about it.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like on Clay, I save so much time, but there's so many other tasks which are really specific, setting up infrastructure, where if I hire talent, I have to teach him first. So I would need so much time. If I have a platform which is specialized on B2B sales, and especially these softwares, I can see the need for that.
That's
Especially also,
CloudTask. And transparently, to anybody listening to this, it took me time to get here.
yeah.
Right? Like when I was talking to software companies and I said, I'm going to sell your software, which we do, we sell seven-figure software. They didn't seem that interested. They even thought they didn't really understand what a marketplace was. Most of them buy through marketplaces. They work, Amazon's a marketplace, Uber's a marketplace, Airbnb's a marketplace. These are marketplaces. But all of a sudden, when I said, I'm a marketplace, I want to sell your software, they were like confused, right? When I tell them I'm a marketplace that has software, but I have a talent in place and I want to bridge your training and get people, oh my God, we need it because their customers churn because they don't have talent.
How do you see like,
It's the real problem, right? Like some of these
yeah,
guys, like Clay, you go to Clay and you're like, Clay, I'm going to sell your software. They're selling a lot of their software. That's not their problem. It's not their pain point. Their pain point is that they're churning clients, and the reason their customers are churning is because it takes them a long time to find talent. You're the CEO of your company or founder. You shouldn't be in Clay, right? I shouldn't be in Clay, right? So, we're trying to fix the problem of that these companies are causing by just growing fast, right?
for sure. So it's like many of my clients I get, it's always the same. Like they started already and they have Clay and they have a couple of email accounts, but they did it wrong. So we have to scratch everything and start from new.
We can't make things perfect,
Yeah, for sure.
but we're definitely doing our best to bridge that gap, right? Because it's better, having somebody with any sort of training is better than hiring somebody that you have to train, right?
Of
Makes
course.
sense.
Yeah.
You're new to podcast, right? Imagine in 2 years, that podcast experience you have now could obviously benefit your own company or anybody, your friends, right? You're becoming an expert by doing it, right? And that's the key. It's like, well, how do you find a new binds, 2-3 layers when it has the experience, right? You even know some Clay, right? But you're doing all this stuff because you don't have the staff. What would you rather be doing with your time than Clay? If you had someone who's running Clay for you, what would
Mhm.
you be doing with your time that's saved?
Talk with clients.
How will
Um,
that affect your profit and loss?
I would get more profit, more clients.
Okay,
Um, Could
there you go.
offload much of my work
There you go.
for sure. But how do you see, like, you have much experience in sales and marketing, also B2B lead generation, and you saw like the switch with tools like Clay and AI. How do you see AI and all these tools changing sales and lead generation in the next years?
I think initially it's going to kill it and make it more phone generated. So I think initially people are going to do they're going to get back on the phones and do a much better
Mm,
job and events and roundtables and podcasts because it's just too much. Like I sent probably 10 emails to spam today and they're just so irrelevant, right? Like, and I just hate hearing like, I saw you follow this company. I'm like, yeah, I sell it in my marketplace. Doesn't mean I want to buy it, right? So I think it's going to kill it at first. Phones will get good, and then all the AI models will get better, and then they'll eventually doing phones. So I think it's a wave. So I think right now we're in the wave where people are just buying it. Their pipelines are going to suffer. They're going to cancel. They're going to hire SDRs and do more other things. But then eventually, I think it's obviously here to stay. I'm not the fundamentals are
mm,
solid. It's just the way people use it. It's kind of almost like people using cars for the first time and killing each other before seatbelts were created and before safety laws were created. So like right now, because everyone's just buying these tools and trying to get out it's gonna hurt email and LinkedIn. Like especially for me, I get email LinkedIn messages and I respond back with a voice note. And then I get like I understand you here, blah, 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 blah. And then I send a voice note. I'm like, are you human? It goes blah, blah, blah. And I say it sends a voice, they won't send voice notes, and I block them, right?
mm,
I do it every day. So like people need to understand that like AI is good if you're using it like if you're a company like Google or Amazon and you use AI, people know your brand, they know they're going to listen to it. But if you have no brand, you shouldn't be using AI. So it's really, unfortunately, I think AI and these tools are going to help the bigger companies become bigger, and then the smaller companies that use them will suffer because they're not bigger yet. So you have to earn the right to use AI.
mm.
You have to spend time building blogs. Spend time. I heard a cold call from an AI bot that a friend of mine uses to service clients, and the company was $1 billion company. And I listened to the call, and during the call, the call was pretty good, but the person on the receiving end was like, you know what, I used uh Databricks or whatever. I use this. I know I was on your blog 8 years ago and I learned from you. I'll take the meeting. So they got the meeting because they had such brand recognition and
Mm.
they invested in a community where someone's like, this isn't a call. I don't like the AI call, but like I know your company, you've helped me. I got information from you. So they earned the right. Had that company not done that, they would have got spammed, right? So I think it's a big difference about who you are and how much you invested, if that makes sense. Right.
It does. What would you recommend, like, if somebody is in the B2B space, and he's like facing the issues and thinking if it is the right choice or they should change? What would you advise them?
Such a vague statement, right? Because I think a sales position, SDR position, customer success, the support, they're all different in the B2B space. I think if you're trying to get into sales as an SDR, you probably should get certified in something like Salesfinity, which is actually one of the products that we train people on. Mavlan Blanc, he's my friend from SF. He's actually from he's from Uzbekistan, and he's a bootstrap founder in SF, and he has a company called Salesfinity. It 10x's your parallel dialing, right? So I think that if you're going to be an SDR in B2B, you should get certified in something like DataBar, which is a Clay alternative, and get certified in something like Salesfinity, so that by the time you get hired, you're the person saying, "Hey, I'm actually trained up in these AI tools. Hire me so I can train and enhance the team versus
Mm.
an old school team just doing 100 calls a day while I'm doing 1,000 calls a day." So I think just if you're going to get the BB, I think you should expose yourself and get trained up on softwares that will help you do the replacing and not be replaced.
So I guess the advice would be the same for B2B lead generation agencies to get certified in these tools and focus on these tools.
Yeah, because you're going to be measuring how many meetings you make, right?
Mm,
So you got to use what you got to use to make meetings, or else you're going to get fired. And that's the thing too. If you see like all these companies like Artisan, TopTal, AISDR, sales, so I know them. They're cool companies, but they're AISDR, right? Sorry, they don't care. Buyers care. I need more meetings. Your delivery mechanism using automation or humans is irrelevant to them. So they're not necessarily new SaaS companies. They're just lead gen agencies, right? Like if you hire an Artisan, what are you going to measure them on? How many meetings do you make? Do you care if Ava the bot is the one doing it or John? No. So I think there's going to be a reckoning in the industry where everyone's going to all of a sudden take off their mask and be like, I'm a lead gen company, and that's okay. But everything else is just the same word on the same lead gen company. You're not an AI powered SDR company. You're a lead gen company using automation as a delivery mechanism.
Mm,
All the lead gen agencies have been using AI as automation for delivery since 2014. It's not new. Maybe like spin tax and like changing things up, or like some of those stuffs are playing within the new rules, but the concept has been here for a very long time, right?
mhm,
Sales agencies in 2014 were using Outreach, they were using SalesLoft, they were using Apollo, right? um the biggest thing that changed now is that because the same people get hit up at the same time, you use Clay and you use DataBar to find harder to reach contacts. So it's the new tools are a product of people spamming people from 2016. And now you got to dig deeper. It's like working a gold mine and you got most gold and now you got to go deeper. That's all it
mhm.
is. Think about it. Like, what are you doing with Clay? You're finding harder to reach contacts that less people have contacted, right?
Yep.
But has it changed the fundamental thing about emailing or LinkedIn offer? Absolutely not.
No,
Got you thinking,
I
huh?
do see. Yeah, I do see your point. No, but it's a great point. It's also like you mentioned before a point that many lead generation agencies are diverting and trying different things like cold calling, or they're adding letters or doing like additional stuff. And some of them are like we doubling down on AI and automation. And I think you gave great points on that. But would you say double down on automation, or is it still a good idea to just add on
I would
letters
say
or
double
cold
down
calling?
on understanding your offer,
Mhm.
because why people find you on your website when they search and they have a problem is different than how you educate them. Double down on an offer first and then automate a good offer. It's always been the same thing. So don't double down on automation. Double down on how to clear offer that people want, and then
Mm,
automate a clear offer. If you
mm,
get 30 people, if you email 30 people and you get 5 people responding because your offer is good, then scaling that works. But if it's not, you'll just get more unreplies and spam rates. So I
yeah,
think the focus should be on your offer and your clients, and then automating things that make sense.
that's a great point. Also, like for this campaign, I tried a A/B test. One I did personalization, the other ones I did not, and the campaign without personalization and without automation worked better.
Yeah, because it's probably more direct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it shows sometimes investing less and doing it the old way, but having better a data set makes more sense. Back to CloudTask. What is like the biggest thing you learned while running CloudTask?
I'd say be grateful for what you have. Like when I had my service business, it was profitable, and I didn't like how the industry worked. Like I didn't like the fact that buyers didn't want the truth. Like if you told them, hey, you might not get 15 meetings a month. You might start getting meetings. They would go to someone else. And I wanted to fix that. And I kind of regret it because I feel like if I just stayed the course, I'd be like a 30 million ARR. And I think my biggest advice is like sometimes you're not rewarded for having good intentions, right? Like and focus on profit and making money because nobody's gonna help you when you're down, right? If that makes sense? So
Mm,
I thought that I would be rewarded for having good intentions, and I wasn't, right? Like the service providers like just didn't care. Software companies didn't care, right? They just care about themselves. So you can't really change how people are working these days, where they kind of act nice to your face and F you over on your back. So don't try to change society. Just go with it. Was my biggest learning because I probably made more enemies and got more hate
mhm,
after I made my pivot and tried helping people versus when I was just rock and rolling with CloudTask. So sometimes good intentions are not going to be good business outcomes. That's unfortunate to say, but it's the truth.
mm, mm.
Name a company that you know that was financially rewarded for doing good for society.
I can't think of any company.
There's not that many companies rewarded for doing good
Mm,
for society. Getting you addicted to a cell phone is not good for society. Our
mm,
biggest companies in our world that have us addicted and brainwashed and hating each other, and they're making all the money. I don't think they did good for society. But if you could think of one, tell me. It's interesting. It's an interesting question, right?
yeah. would have to think long about that. But that brings me to a great point. You mentioned like the American dream is over, and for
I
me
wrote an
personally,
article called "The New American Dream."
yeah,
I think the new American dream is moving to Colombia, Mexico, Bali, and working in US dollars. So I think the American dream, look, 55% of people had a wife and kids at age 30 in the 1950s. Now it's like 5%. So if your dream was to have a family, it's over. If your dream was to make money and be independent from the other gender, then it's very much on. So it really depends on what your dream is, if that makes
mm,
sense. I think America is very good for independent men and women that don't want to get married and don't want to have kids. I think it's great. I think if your dream is to build a family, it's probably going to happen elsewhere. What do you think about that
mm.
statement?
I personally like. I'm thinking about moving away from Austria since Austria and the EU is highly regulated, and my strategy number one is moving to the USA with a E2 visa, and strategy number two is just setting up my company in the US and living either in Brazil or Colombia, Mexico, or some other place, and have like the don't pay
I went
any
to get a haircut
taxes.
today. My
And
haircut's $5. My haircut in Miami is
yeah,
like $50. Same haircut, dude. You know?
yeah, I spent so much time on calculating taxes, and then I looked for apartments in the US, and then like I live in Vienna, and Salzburg is crazy, but the US, all the cities you want to live in, like Miami, you pay $2,000 for basically a shithole. And
Yeah. My apartment here is 4,500 square feet, 4K a month. Um, my apartment in Miami with the same size would be 30,000 a month.
mm. But is it dangerous in Medellin?
No, much safer than America.
Hmm.
Much safer than America. I would say I feel scared to go to America. I was
Really?
walking in San Francisco, which I'm like halfway moving to,
Yeah.
and like someone I was with, like this homeless person, like pulled back and took a swing at this person. Um, that doesn't happen in Colombia. No, I feel very safe here. I think it's much. I think more Americans die on I-95, the highway that goes up north every day,
Mm.
every day than a year in Colombia.
Gave me many great things to think about today.
However, this is not something you should tell Americans because they get very upset with you. So
Yeah.
Americans, I live in San Francisco. I pay $7,000 a month, and I live just like you. And America's beautiful and safe, and I love it. Wink, wink.
Yeah, I do know it. I have many relatives in the US, also many in the US and Canada, and they really don't like it if you say anything against the US. So,
No, yeah, no,
and
can't.
for founders listening, what advice would you give them to avoid common mistakes and in running a business, scaling
Yeah, my
sales?
biggest advice, like I said, is probably like move to a very safe third world country with a low cost of living, high quality life, better food, safer, and work in US dollar, and also just consider hiring global talent and AI, and don't give your capital away to American boomer landowners who don't want to ever sell their houses and just raise the price because that's where it all goes to.
Hmm.
Shout out to my parents; they'll never sell. That's the people
Oh,
doing really well in America. It's the boomers.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think at some point they would probably give all that wealth to the next generation. Like I always see the meme that
The ones
everybody's
that
selling to.
have kids, a lot of
Yeah.
them don't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then they can rent it to you, and then
Mm.
they go to Colombia.
Awesome.
All right, dude.
Well, thanks, Amir, for taking the time. If someone wants to learn more about CloudTask, wants to reach out or work together,
Yeah,
where can
they can
they
go to
find you?
cloudtest.com, or they can find me on social media, Amir Reiter, Amir Reiter, and yeah, easy to find, easy to reach.
Awesome.
All
I
right,
will
dude.
mention that in the show notes. So if anybody wants to reach out, please feel free to do so. Thanks,
Thank you, my
Amir.
man.
Thanks for a great interview, man.